representatives of their regions.
You're watching the qualifiers and Joe's playstyle hasn't changed since the Navi days? Of course not. I think Joe's biggest weakness as a player is that he's not really coachable, like by the looks of it from the outside. And when I say he doesn't look coachable, is that he's played for multiple tier 2 and tier 1 teams, and he's never changed his playstyle despite everyone's biggest critique of him. So him going to Mexico and playing in tier 2/tier 3 for a major spot makes perfect sense, right? To just run over people. But yeah,
Completely throw yourself
I don't know.
out of whack. If you're Reven and if you go to the defense eventually,
We'll see.
you're not going to want to worry about any of those Candelas moving.
My
into
most
play.
talented
But now
teammate,
again,
oh
coming out from Reven
boy.
as well, this is their preferred defensive operator. I think out of like 16
Talent.
operator
Define
fan favorite
talent,
roster,
first
this
of
is
all.
14 of their 16 defensive
What does
bans,
talent
so
mean?
Definitely favoring that Azami over the
Mechanical
Valkyries.
skill is
The Valkyries
Junas for
as
sure.
Northeption's
That guy
preferred
was a
defensive
fucking
ban. Will they
menace.
go for it? No,
But what
they
does
will
talent
not.
mean?
They'll ban the cap can. Interestingly enough,
You know?
I will say this.
Probably Junas.
Joe, I've mentioned earlier, is notorious for kind of running in by himself in
I
the
like
early
that
round.
Lynx is
Cap
roasted
can
Joe as
actually-
well.
or
Very
a
nice.
cap
That's
can
Joe, by
ban
the
might
way.
actually be a
Speaking of
bit
Joe.
buff to Reven's
Stokes has a
playstyle, so
wedding,
they'll
Dream
be tapped.
Gamers, or Stokes couldn't work stage 1 of NAL and therefore not the major. Or
Or
rather, he couldn't work the major, therefore he didn't work NAL stage 1 either. I guess it's the other way around. Hardest opponent I've ever faced? Nesk. Nesk back in his prime. I've said this before. If you think Shaiko is the current, probably the best player in the world right now, and has been for a little bit, right? Arguably. But if you think Shaiko right now is scary, you did not play against Nesk in Nesk's prime. Shaiko is actually a baby compared to Nesk. Back with Ash Acock in year 2, Nesk was the single hardest player I have ever played against in my entire life. And Shaiko was maybe 50% as scary as Nesk back then. Now, nowadays, I would rank Shaiko over Nesk personally, from like an individual one-on-one standpoint. But Nesk was... I think so many people don't understand just how good Nesk was back in the day. He was a completely different kind of an animal. And Liquid's entire playstyle was basically based around that like old BDS style. Oh god. Oh god. This is a tier 3 special. In lobby, down armory stairs. Round over in 20 seconds. There's no mirror on the board. If defenders had a mirror, this entire thing doesn't work. And it's over. The gig is up. Yukis has the information. They get the opening kill. And that's gonna stall out the entire offense. You see this? Oh, it's painful. This round is over. That's actually the entire round over. I'm not even kidding. Unless Northeption just fucks this up, there's no way back into this round. I mean, there is a chance, but it's really low.
They'll slow things down a little bit now as well, but still very much on the hunt. As we're following draw right now on the sledge. Going for a big
Why is the roamer on cams?
kill in here as well. Gonna find it.
This might be a side effect of like the bomb side's under attack, so the bomb side players don't feel like they can be on cams. Why is Nina not on cams?
Safe position.
You know, Nina's in Narnia.
Is the big player for Northeption, so we're looking for some big plays throughout the
Oh!
course of this round, but
Never mind, they fucked it. They bottled it up.
This is a proper cutoff. It takes down Nina in the process.
That's tough.
Very hectic attack and a rush completely thwarted by the defense, but Northeption are now the ones
Gogan is prime or Bride. Oh, they do it for different reasons, I think. Because Goga and Bride were, I don't think they've ever been comparable one-to-one. They were very, like, they excelled in very different areas.
It's the big tower side that is now safer for the defense, and that's where Shureep is trying to contest.
I met Shureep yesterday, I believe, in the hotel. He told me that I was one of the reasons why he became a pro player, or something.
Take a little bit more work and maybe some more droning as well. To
Very
make
nice
sure
guy.
That nobody from Northeption is actually over by those stairs. But Shureep is pushing forward. Now they do have to be careful. A minute left, especially with Fabar on low HP. Somebody on the defense has got to make
CC, I planned that was
Goga,
Goga, yeah. Bride, I feel like Bride was like individual performance higher than Goga, but Goga's sheer support work was higher than Bride's. It's hard to gauge exactly because of no comms, right? I haven't heard Bride com before. Communicate, that is. Gogo is definitely the better planter, for sure. Like, the way we played around as a team was better. But, like, Bride's clutch factor to Goga's was not comparable. Goga was great in 2vx's, but Bride in 1vx's was crazy. Like, Goga and I did a few 2v4s and 2v5s, but Bride can 1v5, so Bride's better, right? Oh god, there's no cover. B-Bar is playing really far back in anti-default with a shotgun facing the wall while his teammates are dying in freezer. If he plays pushed up hallway, he can actually trade his teammate in freezer when they die and get something going.
And same with the early round as well. Even though Reven end up losing the opening engagement, Northeption are holding on to say white stairs or the upstairs position.
So Nina ran down white and just died, and then Jaeger died watching cams upstairs. The awkward thing about Jaeger dying first is that Jaeger is the front phase of that entire roam game. He's playing aggressive and addict, holding like trophy kid storms with a rotate. He should never be on cams. Even, let's say the bomb side is like getting rushed. He's the furthest away from side, so he should not be on cams even in that case because he needs to get back fast, right? So when you play like a three link setup, you can't have the guy furthest away be the actor on cams. But Nina that round probably should have been on cams on Castle, allowing Jaeger to be active with the cams, or with the sound rather. Small things like that. Why am I not casting? I'm casting tomorrow. Today I'm off.
We've gone to a retry of basement later on in the game. For right now, though, they're moving onward up to the second floor defense. Reven will make a few adjustments as well. Specifically, the Brava coming in now for Draw to deal with some of those interior site gadgets, such as the Banshees, potentially an Electric Claw as well. That'll help.
SSG kick and Lycan was the single greatest any move this offseason. What? I think there's a lot of good NA changes. I don't think Lycan getting kicked was necessarily like one of them directly. I think change is good for... I saw in League of Legends, for example, because I'm a big League guy, right? In League of Legends, there's this very big philosophy that a coach should not be a coach for longer than 2 years for the same team. Because it's hard to control your players, because they get comfortable with you and they lack like authority and respect and whatnot. Northeption moving way too much here, right? Unnecessary risk. And I think Lycan might have been a case of that. I think Shaz might have been a case of that as well. I think it's hard. Obviously, G2 went through a lot of roster changes and SSG didn't in the same way. But I do think there is maybe some value in what League does where after 2 to 3 years you have to change your coach. Unless you change like all the players, like literally all the players, maybe. That might be the case. When you want to straight up frag, what is the operator you pick? Defender and attacker? Probably Sledge or Buck, because like soft destruction is insane for fragging capabilities. Sophia is also good for that, Ashe is good for that, because against soft destruction, right? It's just more natural, intuitive with Sledge and Buck. And on defense, you should want to play like Capcan, Oryx Duck, Alibi, probably. Same like Valkyrie, like same story. Either passive gadgets or gadgets that help you. You can play Vigil, at least Vigil's kind of low value these days. Now that leaves Wrath, the only one left outside of the bedroom wall. And sure, Northeption have dropped some gunfights, especially in the last round, but this should be a pretty easy 1v3. I can't even tell you what happened this round, because I don't know. It's all gunfights, yeah? Now we need... Okay, discipline now, Northeption, yeah? Addict guy, so here, Addict guy has first contact. If Addict guy shoots, you swing. White rotate swings, Big Window swings. Because White rotate can hold this position, Big Window can hold that position, right? But this guy should be first point of contact. That's like how you guaranteed win the round in a 1v3 in this scenario. But if the Big Window guy swings early, then you lose your middle centerpiece, and then like it can get really messy from there. Now you can smoke off Armor Door and just 3 guys hold at White Stairs, or vice versa, with 30 seconds left. He almost pulled a Troy. How come Junis got kicked from G2? Difference in how we viewed the game, essentially. We just viewed the game very differently. Like, Junis was always very set in how he wanted to play the game. And it was a really good way to play the game back in like year 1, maybe some of year 2. But the older the game got, the worse the way Junas wanted to play the game became, because the game got more complicated. He wanted to simplify the process. Because Junas would be like an FPS player, right? Like, if there's a guy in the corner, you flash and kill him. But as Siege got more and more complex, if you just throw a flashbang and try and kill someone, there's gonna be a vertical Z4, an ADS, crossfires, pre-fires, one-shot headshots, like whatever. There's so many things, right? And it just didn't work. So Junis' individual performance tanked because of his playstyle, and then he saw the game different than we did. Plus, he was like on paper like putting up pretty bad numbers. It was like we felt we could make an upgrade by parting ways with Junas and get someone else, which I think it was the right choice for us to do. Like we were gonna kick Junas after winning invitationals in 2018, but then because we won, I guess we were all kind of like, oh, we should. Wait, 2018? Jonas is there for Paris Major, right? Right? Yeah, he was. Yeah, so we were gonna kick him after invite, but then we won and we stuck him around because like, oh, it works, right? Like we're good. But then we played more and more and we're like, yeah, like this might work, but like we could be so much better, like quote unquote so much better with someone else. And then we played Paris Major with him, and then you know after that we parted ways. Drops have officially started, dude. Let's go. For these nobody teams, it's teams from other regions that you haven't watched. Like REVEN comes from Mexico, so like quote unquote LATAM, and Northeption is APAC. I don't know their exact geographical location. I'll be honest, I don't. I do not. I do not. Mexico. Oh, is it Japan? I thought it was Japan. Okay. They said they were gonna beat DreamHack Japan, so I was like, maybe they're Japanese? I didn't want to assume though. Because I'm going to DreamHack Japan myself next month, and then they said that they'll also be there. I said, that's cool. I'll see you guys.
Moving very quickly to fill that gap now that they've entered the 5v3. They can start pressuring Freezer a lot more aggressively because if somebody from Northeption...
You guys want Caster's ladder by any chance, or is it just fine the way it is? No one said anything about it yet. But I'm trying to listen to Lynx sometimes because he's new. And I think Lynx is really good. Did G2 kick Shati for the same reason as Junas? No, Shati was Shati wanted to take a break actually. Shati basically stepped down temporarily, and then we found someone else, Kento. Story is kind of complicated. Shati was like half kicked, half left. Shati basically, we had to boot camp for Atlantic City finals, and basically we're in Germany for boot camp with Penta, and Shati messaged us like the day that we arrived, like, "Oh, sorry guys, I can't come to boot camp." We're like, what? Like, we're going to a finals in like fucking a week or whatever. And then we found a last-minute replacement in Kanto. We got a loan contract with N/Sisu. And then we made it to the grand finals against Liquid, almost won, but we lost. And we're like, okay, we want to have Kanto long-term. So Shati was like, I need a break. And then we were like, well, we also want to play with Kanto, so like it's fine. Like it worked out mutually for us all. But it's like half a kick, half a left kind of thing. If Shati had came to the boot camp and stuff, we would have kept Shati for way longer, I think, because Shati was a very good player back then. It was just didn't work out kind of thing.
They're still giving over far too many.
Go for the small tower clear because the utility, at least to clear maybe some of those ADSs, isn't bound.
I see, Han.
Of course, they have those frag grenades and they have those EMPs. So if they land where those ADSs are, that'll work out.
Oh god. Oh god. This is actually. Oh god. So I actually think if Shurip had a trade, like let's say Mute pushed up into Trophy and could swing off Alibi's contact and he sticks the corner, I think that could be like, that's a good play. Because they trade 1 for 2 in that case, right? Most likely. But Shuri just swings and then swings again and he gets 1 and then dies. It's always Joe first dead as well. It's like, is this worth it for defenders? Probably not. Trading 1 for 1 on Oregon actually favors, that's a beautiful shot. 1 for 1 trades actually favor the attackers on Oregon in my opinion. At least early on. When it becomes like a 2v2, it's hard for attackers. But 4v4 and 3v3 is pretty good for attackers. Because then you still have enough pressure points. 2v2 is like pretty good for defenders, 3v3 is like 50-50. But 4v4 is really good for attacking side. And now you see, now again, isolation. Nina dies alone, walk into a rotate, too much movement, and now Yuki's alone. B-ball with the Jaeger shoddy, oh god. Now Yuki's died upstairs, isolated, right? Every single member of Northeption isolated, playing alone.
both players are now completely dealt with. The thing Northeption had remaining.
Nina died from big window after. Also, Nina could have reinforced or barricaded a double window after getting the sledge kill. And then, like, that would have saved him too. Couple options there. Now you can, don't be called drop, make a play. No hop. Oh, there's Hopper, sorry. Ace is alive. There's a jam on the wall. So now, 2v2 favors defenders, right? It's tricky because Shaker has a shotgun. But if defenders can play together here for a cross in kitchen, that could be huge because they got the walls reinforced. They have to come green hallway, security hallway, or dining. So right now, you can go back and barricade the doors to buy you time because this door is not barricaded, but he's playing there with a shotgun. Dining door not barricaded, but 90 default cam should be alive. So defenders should have really good intel here. Smoke could also again barricade this door if he knows where both are. Just buy time. But they got the jammer. So now they're walking it opened up. There's one Toxic Babe left. 25 seconds. It shouldn't be plantable. Even if time is enough. We're gonna go green door, security hall. It comes down to 1v1s now. Because Sam can't plant without cover. Smoke has to isolate. He wins on time. Ooh, big. I don't know how Jaeger lost the gunfight inside security. We didn't see it, but that's like very close. All things considered. Well, I guess playing Apex and Valorant now. Yeah, I know he played a lot of Apex when he retired from Siege. I follow him on Twitter. I saw he posts like a lot of Apex tweets. Oh, Nina injured. Still fine. Sledge is now 20 HP. A lot of teams might greed for like, oh, I want to get the kill, but Sledge being 20 health is a big win. He's gonna die to a single bullet, impact grenade, C4, whatever. Like, it's still a very big victory as a spawn peak. What happens with Fnatic? They struggled. They also got kind of fucked by COVID because they're supposed to move to like Japan, I think, and play locally in the Japanese like division of like APAC or whatever. But then COVID happened. They couldn't move. They couldn't get in. Visa issues, delays, etc. But they had to play online on like high ping and stuff. It was APAC got really messed up by COVID, sadly. I mean, every region did, but especially APAC, I feel. Ooh, there's a C4. Not onto this Sledge, but Sledge is dead from earlier engagement. Ooh. Okay, discipline now, Northeption. Discipline. And you're dead. They did break the glass, so they just didn't hear it. Yeah, they have a full Japanese team plus Magnet now. That's the last I heard of Fnatic as well. I'll probably see Diesel and Magnet in Japan when I go next month. They offered to take up the food. Do you cast in Las Vegas when casting NAL? No, we cast from Denmark. Like, where they are right now is where we cast from in stage 1 of NAL. Like, we're casting the exact same studio that we cast in last month. Which is in, not in Copenhagen technically, but close by. The Blast Studio.
The man of the hour. The man of the best of one so far. To recover diffuser, maybe. Or at least just get 4 kills.
Thibar is not having a great game. He's 0-5. Did play the Jaeger shotgun round. So only 0-4. We don't count that one. Doesn't count. If you play Jaeger shotgun and you die without getting a kill, it's fine. It's completely excusable. Tomorrow's game I'm casting is M&M versus Falcons. And then I'm casting a... I don't know what I'm casting after that. I don't remember. I don't think I've checked even. I'm casting something. I can check actually. I only checked the first game. I'm not prepped for the other game in between. Oh god. Where is the graphic for when I cast pieces? Wait, I have a photo of it. I can check this way. I am casting M&M versus Falcons, and I'm casting lower Group A, lower bracket, best of 3. Which I don't know what that is yet. Because it happens it's based off these games' outcome, right? I guess. Or tomorrow's game's outcome. I can't keep track.
From the back foot on this one to try and come back into the round.
That's a shame as well, with how seemingly early round focus REVEN's
Yikes.
have been. If that Solus had survived, could have seen
again, the base in Rome not working out. And the thing is, right, you have Mira open and everything against a Yingban. So that's a Jesus Christ.
The round is done.
You could just play like Mira, hide in basement, play Kaid, make it hard for the attackers. I don't think Reven is a very heavy execute team either, looking at their like playstyle. Make them struggle in a 5v5 is probably not a bad approach here. And giving them 1v1 gunfights is exactly what Reven they thrive, I think. Because they look like a really competent rank stack, right? They probably wouldn't be able to pick apart like hard setups that well. Like upstairs, kids' dorms from master bedroom they fucked, for example. I am casting the major bow metric. I'm casting every second day. So I'm literally like tonight when I'm done streaming and I like shower and get some food, I'm gonna take the train to the hotel, sleep in the hotel tonight, wake up tomorrow morning, and then cast. And then I'm gonna go home after casting, sleep here, wake up, stream that the next day, because I'm not working that day, and then rinse repeat. So every second day I'll be co-streaming, and the other day I'll be casting. So I'm going back and forth. It's only like a 40-minute travel for me, so it's not too bad. I get to cook my own meals, sleep in my own bed, be home. Terra lived in Denmark for like, a month, then he was home for like a week and a half, and then came back for the last week, then back, and then now for the major. So back and forth. Yeah, this blast format is the first time it's been done. It's a very different format than previous majors. Nina could rappel up the wall there, but goes to the car jump instead. Bit unfortunate. How's it different? We don't have this. So first of all, there's much more teams at this event from many more regions. That's why you have never seen some of these players and teams before, most likely, right? And then you have like play-ins, group stage, playoffs. So the entire format's like completely different. Like there's very few things that are the same here as last major. It's like what, 24 teams? The most basically, I mean the most for major. Joe is indeed the guy who's played for Navi, yes. Same Joe. And Viperior 86 or whatever. Viperio. Yukin team. The prize pool is 750k, I think, right? 750k? Is what my brain tells me. It's a major prize pool. First place gets what? 350k? Something like that? Maybe more? I don't know, there's so many teams, so the prize pool is probably going to be lower for first place, surely. Unless you just get pennies, but yeah. There's basically more chances for everyone now to qualify and to like win the major. The only thing I think we're missing right now, or one of the things, we're missing Challenger League and relegation. I think Challenger League is like an integral part of like tier 1 play to grow talent and whatnot. Great discipline there from Reven. They get to kill the back off, they get to kill the back off. And they play that 5v5 like Goyo and like Mira's Open and whatnot, like I think Northeption should have done. Because it's hard to attack against. They also got the opening kill, so they play the 5 vs 4. They played Goyo, Mira, Smoke, Warden, Wamai. A classic like tier 1 meta strat. And it's exactly what I think Northeption should have done when they were defending. As against these guys. From Northeption, so even had they tossed out as much of their utility as possible, it's going to be likely you would have just been caught in the end, no matter what. Because there's no Challenge League anymore, there's no promotion or relegation, so going pro is very hard in Siege. The only way to go pro, technically speaking, is to get picked up by a team as an individual player, or if your entire roster, like the entire team that you play on, get picked up by a team. You cannot just like go pro in Siege anymore, the way they used to be able to. Is that 24s in Brazil? Yes, sir. We're gonna go to Denmark for this one. Then some place in North America for the next major. And then SI is in Brazil. That's the entire calendar year for this Siege year. Jaeger as well as the Wamai and the laser gates coming in there from Wrath as well. I think it's a very good decision based on
the lineup that Reven saw, but also the lack of utility, especially projectiles they saw.
It said 25 Norway, honor Mr. Officer. I don't know about that. I have a video. I usually cast. I'm also casting this major. Casting tomorrow. It starts in February always. At least it always has been until now, so I assume it's gonna stay the same. Joe's 5-5. He's playing perfectly average Siege. He is dead first every round, but he's playing perfectly average Siege. He's not bad. Oh, Joe wins this. Oh, it's over. It's over. Good night, draw. He's literally... He almost wins it. He could have just gone back up piece of stairs, but, you know, why not fight it out?
Some of the HP that was lost from him back on the shoe reap there towards the end of it. As he knocks out just short.
Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna black out the screen for 2 seconds. I need to open up my Discord. I'm just gonna open up my main monitor, and I'm gonna leak something. And there we go.
Very well-renowned player inside of Japan, though a little bit more inconsistent than Nina. Some days he's very hot, some days he's very cold. Today, though, he's 10-5, by far and away the best performer on Northeption. So right now, one player 0-7, another player 1-5.
There we go.
Able to salvage this and get
No
an
leaks, no
advantage
leaks.
for Northeption.
We saw it. Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll see a movement
Sorry.
over towards Attic to try and open up an angle this way.
It wasn't a good leak anyway. Don't worry. It's just the talent group chat that we have with Blast.
Apply some release pressure. They'd still only really be pushing it or through the dorms rotate and the big window.
I leaked the script, dude. Reven's gonna win the entire major in Copenhagen. They're gonna be a Mexican team from a European team from Mexico winning the entire major.
Rest of Northeption trying to group up for the first big push towards the site itself.
What's the execute here, though? What is the angle? Great nade timing. Somebody asked how to do nades below earlier. Look at this. That's how you do nades below. That's fucking perfect. Go in the white stair spot. You notice because the smoke grenade, 2 barbars can walk up, punch them to control. So white stairs can cut off the rotate. Then big window guy cuts off a second rotate. They can actually plant big window here, most likely. Like, it might actually be possible to plant big window. It might be possible. Oh, Shuri went Armory side instead. Evil Cam not being watched because Joe and Draw both watching players. They're both watching players! Nah, you're kidding. Was a phone call going off? It had to, right? I think a phone call was going off. We'll excuse it. We'll excuse it. 1v1. It had to be a Dokkaebi call. I heard at the tail end. It has to be it.
The first site, Reven have won. That was not basement.
I'll double check.
2 different halves. Now they've won it to go up 5-3.
We'll see. We will replay this one. We're gonna replay it. Was there a phone call going off?
And Reven had some useful angles, albeit the
Let's see.
They had someone holding big
Dokkaebi is on cams. Has a call left. They're not watching the cam though. Call is not out yet. Call going out now. Joe was watching a cam at this moment. And then he walks up. Look at the timing. Joe's watching a camera. And then Joe's off. So either Joe's watching a different camera in the same last second, or he actually got completely bamboozled. We'll excuse it. It might just be perfect timing. Maybe if Joe was watching the armor cam, he might have seen like a second of Iana, but either way, the camera came out with the peak, so. Yep. You should have stayed on cams, you can't. When you get called by Dokkaebi, you get forced off cameras, even if you're dead. That was the change to Dokkaebi that came like 2 patches ago, I think. It's recent, but not that recent, right? So even if you're dead, you can't watch cams.
Interesting. So we're gonna see a quick execute from
I don't like that. Dude, I don't think anybody likes that. That shit's strong as shit. It kind of feels bad that you can't be on cams when you're dead, for sure. So we got Amaru's shotgun, but notice there's no diffuser from Amaru. So Amaru's not gonna play the initiator for the execute, for the plant side of things. Normally that will be the case. If he fights Joe on the staircase, the Amaru shotgun is perfect for this. Like, no one's gonna see this coming, not even Joe.
Dexter's player. We'll see if he can get the successful sneak, but
What?
no, the crosshair is aimed too high.
He knew he was there, no? The phone call?
Swing out and knock out Shurip, first kill of
He
the
was
round.
super loud.
Once again to our defenders here on Reven. As Nina or another
Maybe
player
Joe does
from
see coming.
Northeption tries to pull a very similar move that we just saw from Shurip. I think he's a little bit slow.
So Reven spreads out very thin. They get the kill, they go a little bit closer. Surely. They trade 1-for-1. That's not good. What should have been an easy kill there to leverage it back to a 3v3. Or 4v4 rather. Say 4v2.
They hold it back at the last second as they hear that breach going through. So don't want to challenge that in this scenario here. Still a 2v4.
Comes the swing. Come on, Joe. Yep, there it is. And we swing again. Secondary, we swing again. I think Reven are gonna get absolutely dumpstered by the tier 1 teams, personally. Because, like, tier 1 teams wouldn't make these mistakes. So the question is whether Reven can adjust their playstyle. Because they get to play Northeption first, right? And they're playing this kind of playstyle. It's mostly working. But if you do that against, like, I don't know, any tier 1 team, I think you're gonna get stomped. Like, genuinely.
Bit of a weird one, but it definitely seems like that's the case. So Reven once again icing the kicker a little bit here, making absolutely.
I don't see this working. I don't see it.
They have the pause, so they might as well use.
I mean, generally speaking, this entire game between these two teams is, like a lot of people in chat are saying, it feels like a high-end ranked game. There's not a lot of team play, coordination. There's all, like, how many of these engagements are 1v1s? Like, 70-80% of all these engagements are 1 versus 1s from either side. Whereas the higher level of siege you go, you'll see like 2v1s, 2v2s, trades, refrags, strategical elements being put in place. This is essentially, looks like 5 people solo queued for a champion rank game, and they're trying to communicate together an in-game voice chat, but they're mostly playing for themselves, right? That's like the, if you really want to bone it down to like the dumb level, that's what it comes off as. Obviously, that's not the case. These are professional teams that have played in their own regions, etc. First game on stage, nerves, etc. But generally speaking, there's a lot of gaps in both the attacks and the defenses, right? If you're Northeption and you defend Oregon and you play against Reven, who we all know is like a glorified ranked team, and you don't play like Mira, Goyo, Omai, etc. on a basement turtle defense, I think you're throwing. Because it literally hard counters Reven's entire nature of their playstyle. And then now that Northeption is attacking, they're not playing for isolated 1v1s. They're trying to go with default executes, right? This is where you want like the Dokkaebi, the Jaggle, the Finger, the Monty, for example, to just hunt down 1v1s and build man advantage. It seems like both teams are trying to play their own playstyle instead of trying to counter the enemy's approach. And that's also like usually at like a lower level, that's what we see. At a higher level, adaptations get made very frequently. I will say in Northeption, they have tried to adapt in this round, for example, but they're playing Dokkaebi, Twitch, Monty, Nomad. Playing Monty, Nomad together is 2 different strats. Nomad plays for limited take, Monty plays for isolation or for execute. So it's kind of puzzling that, oh, that's a disgusting gunfight to lose. That is unfortunate. He's 1 HP. 1 armor, by the way. Toma would have died here. So like Monty, Nomad's kind of weird. And then again, Nina is alone in lobby and just dies. And let's say Nina got the kill onto Runner. Runner is alone and dies. So it's another 1v1 for no reason. Like, they're air jabbing all the flanks. Why is Twitch in lobby? You literally pick Nomad so you don't need to take lobby control. Because you're going to get Meeting Hatch, Big Tower, Monty push down, Pillar control, Blue control into bomb site. Why do we have a guy in lobby? We don't need a guy in lobby, right? We do not. Monty's doing great work right now, but note, nobody's near him. It's not a huge deal because no one should be able to kill the Monty in this position, but we got 2 guys on hatch, 1 guy blue. Nobody's tower stairs. No one's following the Monty. So now Monty in this peculiar position where unless Monty plays this absolutely perfectly and smoke fucks up, Monty's going to take a lot of damage or die. It's tough, right? So he gets back out now. They reinforce the wall, and now they gain nothing on the attack. Right? And they're not playing a hard breach operator. They got Monty second to hard breach because they play for this limited take. So now this wall has been reinforced and they can play close. So the round is it's fucked. It's fucked. And Monty is not going to be able to hard breach because he's also the entry player. So it's rough. because they can play talk to you with the shotgun, right? Hard to beat. So there's again very simple concepts that are very easy to look at from like a we see top-down view. We're not playing in the server, but like, look, you cannot plant in a 2v3. Not possible. You need to have a 3v3 to plant in this because you need hallway control and you need rotate control. And if both people swing, the guy on chassis, the guy on freezer, the planter will die no matter what. Even if you hit a nasty flick, the planter will still die. So you cannot plant in a 2v3. You need to have either default control or you need to have hallway control / freezer. They don't have either, so. Dogi was holding the rotate laundry instead of holding because like basement Oregon, right? If you have a chassis here, half wall, this is default plant. So like you got like meeting hatch here, right? Then you got like hallway, whatever, you got freezer door, yeah? If you have Dogi was playing pillar here, holding this angle through the soft wall. Okay, my picture didn't really line up that well. Gotta move this a little bit. Hold tight. We gotta move this a little bit. Where's my painting thing here, right? So chassis. So Dogi is holding through the soft wall into this angle, which sees the laundry rotate and it sees the chassis swing because Smoke is playing, he can swing this way, right? And that's good. That's the right angle to hold. But the issue is there's a guy freezer / hallway. And if this guy pushes up here, he sees planter. If this guy swings hallway, he sees planter. If Dogi holds the hallway, then this guy can swing kill planter. So you cannot plant Oregon basement in a 2v3. It's literally impossible. Unless the enemy has no eyes, no legs, and no hands. Because as long as they just push up somewhat at the same time, this guy will die. And then this guy's fucked. So, not possible to plant, essentially. Ever. In that numbers position, right? So. But like the whole thing's kind of rough. The whole thing was kind of rough. Imagine Twitch was alive and was with them to go like tower stairs. Imagine Twitch drones were alive to sap out the Vulcan canisters to help the Monty early in the round, to have smoke grenades for the execute or something, right? Twitch dying early in that round actually fucked them so hard, and it's hard to realize that in the server because it's just like, oh, I lost my gunfight against Mira. And it's like, you might say, okay, that's fair enough. You lost your gunfight. It's an FPS game. It happens. You lose gunfights. But should you even be in a position to take a gunfight? Were you needed on that side of the map? Why were you there? What was the objective? What was the goal, right? Was it worth the risk? It's, Siege is basically one big game of risk assessment, at least to some players like myself. And if you look at like the worth, the value versus the cost of being in lobby as Twitch in that final round, not worth it, simply. Even if he killed the Mira, it's not worth the risk that he might have died. That's essentially how you gotta look at it. Because some people go, oh, but Pengu, he killed the Twitch. It's fine. Didn't, but let's say he did. But it's like, yeah, but what if he didn't? Right? Look at both outcomes and weigh the risk versus the reward. And then tell me if it's worth it or not. It's not. So, it's a bit dicey. And a lot of things, like look at this round, for example, right? Two guys jump in the big window, not at the same time. You know what you can do? You can have one guy repel big window, repel him with the animation, second guy jumps in the window. You actually peek it faster and more combined, and you also have that one kill animation with the repel against SMG11, and you can get a trade. There's a lot you can do there. There's a lot you can do there.
Absolutely the case. So once again,
so small mistakes from Northeption, but they all have massive negative impact on the outcome of the round, right? But it's small things, small things. Very easy to coach, very easy to fix if you look at it from a top-down view. Are we? Okay, it's not me. It's not me. I was like, sound?
What's it like being on LAN here?
Well, this is like my first ever like LAN event. I've just turned 18. Well, not just, well, a few months ago. And I've just got into Pro League and I've first stage I've made the major.
I'll tune this up.
Completely different to an online build, so I was a bit shaky getting into it, but I had a good
bit
game,
shaky.
So not much to complain about.
You had a good game indeed. So moving forward as well, how are you feeling about your individual performances?
Individual performances, I think we're all like strong as an individual performance and team performance. Like we get along with each other, vibe along with each other, and stuff like that. It's good.
Okay, this is actually also the first time for you guys that you're going up against a Japanese team. So in terms of the vibe that you got, how was it?
No disrespect, but EU's better. Unfortunately. But yeah.
I like how he says EU's better, but they're a Mexican team. They're from Mexico! technically.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's a fair enough point. So, you backing the EU boys this time around?
What, sorry?
Are you backing the EU boys?
Of course I am. Sonic's going to get a good win on them.
Okay.
I believe Citizen will go insane. He's my boy, obviously.
Okay, so I love that you're bringing up the next game because that's also one of the talking points that I want to go into. The fact that, you know, you're predicting Sonic's coming through, you're then going to be heading up against them. So how are you feeling about that one?
I have a feeling we're going to have a good, like, we're so unpredictable in how we play. And I think Citizen, I think Sonics are more of like a structured team. And they
He
like,
just
play
called
very
Sonics
constructed,
Citizen.
Like,
He
structured other
recognizes
teams
that
and
Sonics are
not wait
nothing
for
without the European
So I think we'll
player.
come out on top.
Citizen is
Okay,
Sonics.
I love those expectations. In general, looking at the whole picture of things.
Also,
I mean,
is it
phase one,
unpredictable?
obviously the goal is to be going to phase 2. Realistically, how far are you expecting yourself
Is it
to be pushing
unpredictable if you always do the
we're
same
winning the
thing?
major.
Even though it makes no sense?
Okay, I love that. The confidence. Let's go. Thank you so much for the time to do the interview. We are going to be heading to a quick little break, and we'll be back shortly.
Playing unpredictably, but always playing the same way. Is it unpredictable? So, I think a big talking point right now in Siege, for like Pro League, is like the order of the hierarchy right now. I'm gonna put APEC on 4, because I think that's like where they are, right? Who's 1, 2, and 3? Which region is actually the best? Because I think a lot of people will go EU right now, right? EU, NA, LATAM. I think a lot of people will go with this right now. And there's a good reason for this. LATAM is kind of imploded right now. Like, people have made changes, like the new hero of like W7M, they imploded, like they've like completely got blown up into pieces, etc. And I think a lot of people are gonna put LATAM below NA now because of that. But it's like, do you put EU or NA first if that's the case? It's a hard one. I think Lugan is like, logically, you actually go EU first, and then you probably go, I don't know, like, is LATAM NA second? And I think it's sort of to tell right now with the major. But I actually think there is more reasons to put EU as the first seeded region than not. Because you have G2, VP as like really solid teams. Supposedly. We'll see how VP does internationally, right? But G2 just came off one of the best performance we've seen from a team in years, in my opinion, from SI earlier this year. And then you have Wolves and Eminem, which have been staples of last year as well. Never really gotten super far, never like won anything, but like they've been very consistent, right? NA had like this massive roster change last season after Invite, and half the teams are like completely new rosters, new coaching staff, mix and matches, etc. So I feel like you'd almost have to go like EU, LATAM, NA, like logically speaking. But I don't think it's like NA is like by far the third. I think it's like EU and there's like a gap, and then you have like LATAM, NA. We'll see. That's I'm expecting EU to do well. Just looking at like the situation here.